Hey guys, my name is Angie. Recently I picked up a new hobby, which is building mech model kits, specifically Zoids. It was my very favorite anime when I was a kid. I did dozens and dozens of the models and I absolutely love them. Recently I got back into it. I wanted to make a video talking about my kind of workshop toolkit setup that I have going on. Kind of as a visual guide, if you will, to see what you guys are getting into if you want to start doing these kits. They're great fun, great time waster. I love them a lot. So first things first, let's talk about the models themselves. You basically have two main options. Here I have two Zaberfangs. They are both 1/72 scale models, so they're the same size. This one is going to be what you find with the Hasbro and Tommy kits. They are not as detailed as the Kotobukiya high-end master models, which is this other one here, but they are motorized. Here's what it looks like when it's moving. A bit noisy, but they're fun. They come on about 15 to 20 racks of parts. They're called sprues, the racks, I suppose. Suitable for beginners, I'd say. Then you also, the price range, they run anywhere from 20 up to 60, depending on what you're getting. $20 to $60, you can find them on Amazon, eBay. Same with these guys, but these have a larger price range. This is a Kotobukiya brand Saber Tiger Shoeballs model. It is the mount ride of the Commander Shoeballs from Chaotic Century. You may recognize it. I love these kits. If you've done a kit before, you might be better off going with one of these because you're more experienced. If you're not, but you still want to get into a more detailed model, go with a less complicated build like the Shadow Fox or a Command Wolf, something like that. This one was pretty complex. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, I love these models. They're extremely posable. Oops, some loose parts. That's pretty normal, actually. And I love it because my favorite part of this is each claw is individually articulated. Like, they're awesome. Everything moves. They're super detailed, lots of depth. They come on like 40 racks of parts compared to 15 or 20, so kind of a big difference. They run anywhere from $40 all the way up to $140, depending on what model you're looking at, the rarity of it, how recently it was printed, that sort of thing. Anyway, so you have two options. Personally, I really like the Kotobukiya models. They're called high-end master models. Make sure you get the HMM models because there are bootleg versions that are sold, so pay attention to that. They're the equivalent of the master-grade Gundams. Same manufacturer. Okay, so moving on to the most basic tools that you could get if you're not planning on doing any painting and all you want to do is put the kit together and just set it down and you're done. What you're going to need is, first things first, cutters. You're going to need wire cutters. Wire cutters, model kit cutters. You're going to want flush cutters. You don't want something like this. This is what I did my first kit with. You look at it, it's angled. These are like cuticle cutters that I had laying around, and I thought to myself, oh, these will work just fine. Well, turns out that's not the case. When they're not flush, what actually happens is they will gouge into your plastic in a way that you really don't want them to sometimes, and it leaves these ugly white stress marks on your pieces. It's just awful. So don't use ones like this. What you do want is a cutter like this. This is a Xuron micro shear cutter. It's flush. It's amazing. It cuts very, very well. It's like $12 on Amazon. I do a lot of shopping on Amazon. Another option you have is the Tamiya brand hobby cutters. These are a little bit more expensive, also flush, of course. They were like $30 on Amazon. They cut even better. I like them better for tinier parts that are closer to the sprue where they're attached. They're really nice. Definitely want some quality cutters. Flush, if nothing else. You're going to want some plastic adhesive. It's like $1 at your local hobby store. The way that this works is it will actually melt two plastic pieces together, so once you use it, don't expect to be able to pull them apart without destroying what you just glued. Once it's dry, at least, because it literally like melts the plastic together, and then you're done. Because you'll have some loose pieces floating here and there. For instance, on this model, the tops of the claws I had to glue down because they kept popping off. Little things like that, not a big deal. So glue's nice to have. You'll want an X-Acto knife, great for cleaning up little plastic nubs that you don't want, shaving off little messy bits. They're nice. They're like $5. So those are like, oh yeah, sorry. And then last part of your very basic kit is sandpaper. Also good for cleaning up plastic nubs or pieces that are really sharp, because especially with the Kotobukiya kits, you will get pieces that are extremely sharp on your fingers. I ended up kind of, when I first did one of the high-end master model kits, I ended up sort of hurting my fingers a bit from smashing the pieces together to make them fit. So sandpaper's good for wearing down rough edges. This was like $5 add-on piece on Amazon. Start high grit so that you don't damage the plastic around where you're sanding. This one starts at 1,000. It has a sheet of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 polishing kit. So those are your basics. Very, very basics. Okay. Other things I find very useful for this sort of thing are this. This is just your basic like plastic sectioned bin. You can find it at like Walmart for $10. Hobby Lobby is where I got mine. I used to use this when I was a little girl for like jewelry and bead animals and stuff. It was good. I like it because you can set parts in it. You can cut things off the rack, set them down, keep them separate so they don't get mixed up. Oops. You can use post-it notes to label or just write directly on the plastic. You can use it as a drying rack. You can use it for transportation of your tools, which is also what I use it for. It's a good little investment, I think. Something to think about. I have a work light here that I really enjoy. It's like it moves all around. Now, if you're looking to get into painting, your most basic paint that you can use is Testors. Testors run about $1.50 a bottle. I absolutely love them. I love the little bottles because they remind me they're like little candies. Whenever I go to the store, I just want to grab a bunch of them because they're so colorful and cute. You need to pay attention to whether or not you're buying gloss or flat paint, because the gloss I've found does not match the texture of my Zoids very much. For instance, like on this guy, yeah, it's a little bit shiny in the light, but the gloss paint is way shinier, and I think it kind of stands out in a bad way, so I used flat paint on it. Pay attention to that. Painting's great for details. Testors paint is good. Enamels. Go for enamels over acrylic. Acrylic takes a lot of second layers. Enamel does not. So painting. You're going to want tiny little brushes for your painting endeavors. You can get like a little pack for $5. Ones with teeny tiny tips are great. They're also good for panel lining. As far as painting goes, panel lining is a really popular technique, and what it refers to is if you have light colored armor like this, any kind of details on there, you can go over with dark paint to make them kind of pop out. And you can do that in a number of different ways. There's Gundam markers, Gundam paint markers will do it. I have a friend who recommended the Micron brand acrylic ink markers. They look like this. This is a 0.8, which is bigger. And then this is a 0.1, much smaller. All you do is you literally just draw into the lines in the armor. Clean up any excess, like a Q-tip. You're done. Makes it look really nice with very little effort. If you are afraid, if you're a horrible painter and you're afraid of ruining your new expensive kit, you can also use, if all you want to do is like metallic details, you can actually use stuff like this. These are Pilot brand paint markers. I've never used Gundam markers, but I think they're kind of like this, but these are cheaper and you can buy them in fewer, like smaller numbers of markers at a time. Looks like this, and it's literally a paint marker. You just boop, tiny little dab of paint onto your little details that you want to stand out or make look metallic. Sharpie, you can even use the Sharpie brand ones. They work just fine. They clean up with paint thinner if you get it where you don't want it. Alright, what else are we looking at? Oh, okay. Other tools I use. These are clean makeup brushes. Got a pack of 3 at the dollar store. for literally $1. And I use them for dusting out models that have been sitting around forever that I want to work on again, like my old models from when I was a kid. This yellow one is one of those, and it's just dusty all over, and this will get right into the cracks, clean it up. I use eyedroppers for mixing my paints, and what I mix paints for is doing panel lining with the wash technique, and there's plenty of videos you can look up on how to do that. Maybe I'll make one. But it basically refers to mixing dark paint with thinner until it's a coffee-like consistency, and then you take that tiny little brush I showed you, you dip it, and then you just touch it to one of those detail indents in your armor, and it fills in. It fills in, and then you take your Q-tips with some thinner on it, and you leave it to dry for a little bit, and then you wipe up the excess where you don't want it. It's really nice. I think it's a lot cleaner, personally, than the Gundam marker style of panel lining, but you can experiment with whatever works for you. Okay, so we've got the Q-tips and we've got all that kind of stuff. Other random tools that I find useful. We've got, sorry for the noise. Alright, so we've got like tweezers. They're good for holding bits and pieces while you paint them, or for pulling stuff out of like inside the armor that fall loose or something. This is, they're good. And then this is like a clamp type tool. I don't know where I got it. I've had it around forever. Again, you can use it for holding things while you paint, and then it'll kind of clamp shut so that you don't have to squeeze it. It just kind of holds it for you, and you can even like set it on something. Well, I find that useful for painting. And then the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3 things. 99-cent paint palette, great for mixing colors. This is a microfiber cloth that I've had around, use it for like cleaning screens and stuff. What I use it for in my models is wiping up, after I'm done like painting something or panel lining it, I use it to wipe up fingerprint oil and excess paint thinner. It's great. And the reason you don't want to use like terry cloth or just a regular rag or something is because it will catch sharp edges. You don't want that to happen because it could just yank off bits of the armor, warp your plastic, send it flying off into the abyss, you'll never find it again. Don't want to risk that, no way. And then last thing, another painting tip. This here is wax baking paper, and I just set it down on my workstation. I paint on top of it. Paint won't stick. I can set things on top of it to dry, and I won't lose paint to it really. It's good for drying, good for keeping things clean. And yeah, I think that's about it. I can post, well, I'll put some links in the description of like where you can find these things to buy, what the pricing looks like. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. Thanks for watching. Have a good time with your models.